Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start with the story of the annoying neighbor who was bothering our OP, but he handled the situation beautifully. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Neighbor tells me no smoking in the toilet. So I moved places a few months ago. I live on the top floor of a 5-story building, and the subject of my revenge lives on the first floor directly below me. I rent the place, and according to the contract, I cannot smoke in the house, not even on the balcony. I'm fine with it, so I drag my butt down to the street and smoke there. No biggie. It all started on my third day in my new little home. I went down to smoke, and while enjoying my precious cancer stick, this old lady, OL, on the first floor balcony emerged. OL, excuse me, but I would like it if you stopped smoking in the toilet. Me, confused. Why would I do that? I don't know, but every night we wake up from cigarette smoke, and we'd appreciate it if you would stop it. I never smoke in the house, much less in the toilet. That's why I'm smoking right here. I hope so. I never want it to happen again. Sure. And for a few days, I thought nothing of it. She probably is retired, bored, whatever. I never smoked in the house. Never will. I tried being as nice as possible, not wanting to have fights with my neighbors on the first day. I even thought she might have smelled it because I was smoking in the door of the building and her window was above it. So I even crossed the street so it wouldn't be a problem later. And with that, I thought it was over. But approximately a week later, she caught me while smoking. I won't write the conversation out. Pretty much she told me again to stop smoking in the toilet. I tried to reason with her, saying, why would I come down and climb those monstrous stairs if I just smoke in the house? And even if I smoked in the house, why would I do it in the toilet? Why not the balcony? And I also questioned, how could the smoke go all the way down to the first floor? I'm not 100% sure, but I believe ventilation is made so the air goes towards the top of the building. In the end, we were both pretty upset, and she said she will come knocking every time she smelled it, and I was like, yeah, sure. Then a week later, she did come knocking at 2 a.m. when I was sleeping. I was PO'd, sent her to hell, then shut the door. The very next day, she did it again, around the same time, and this continued for a few weeks, but not every day. So we come to the revenge part. Sorry the exposition took so long. My friend suggested a very good thing. What if I knock on her door every time I go smoking just to ensure her that I don't smoke in the toilet? And I did exactly that. For 3 days straight, every single time I had the urge to smoke, which meant something like 5 to 6 cancer sticks, outside of work hours, of course. I smoke much more at work. I can tell you she was PO'd. She shouted, threatened me, but all I did was make sure there was no misunderstanding from either part. But, well, all fun had to stop. And it stopped when she called the police on me. They were really understanding, but obviously not approved of my actions. But now there's no knocking on my door at any time. And our second story. So that's how this is going to be, huh? So this happened years ago when I was a student at college. Me and my friends rented a house, and we had to manage utilities. Normally not a problem, but one time. So it's Christmas. We're all headed out home one by one to be with our families, but I've got one minor problem. The utility bill hasn't shown up yet. I delay my departure as long as possible, but it's nowhere to be seen. Eventually, I can't wait any longer. I lock the place up and head out. It's a college town, I think to myself as I leave, and Christmas. They'll figure it out. A week later, I get an automated phone call telling me that my bill is now overdue, and unless I pay now via phone, I'll be charged a large fee. Crap, I think, knowing that they'll also charge a convenience fee for paying over the phone, but that's only $5. Better that than a late fee, so I call our utility provider. This office is currently closed until X date on account of the Christmas season. Please call back after this date. No problem then, I think. They'll understand that I could not pay, and the bill wasn't sent out early enough, so I enjoy my Christmas. When I get back, a new bill arrives within a few days detailing the missed bill and the $75 or so late fee. Once they're open again, I call. I explain the situation that they didn't send out bills early enough and that they hadn't arrived until well after everyone had left on break, and that when I tried to pay over the phone, the bill finally came in and the office had been closed. The other person on the end says, "Yeah, sounds about right." Well, can you knock off the late fee? There was no way to avoid it. No. Why not? I couldn't have paid it. It was too late in coming. We know. Couldn't you have sent the bill earlier? You knew Christmas was coming. Of course we did. This happens every year. Click. I get it now. So you're telling me that you set it up so that you'll hit a ton of college students with late fees because you'll be closed after the bills go out. Yeah. No shame, this individual. Then the golden moment. What are you going to do about it? We're your only option. Do you want power or not? So yeah, this is a deliberate scam to make some extra money off the college kids. I'll pay it, I say, in person. I then collected the money for the utilities and called my bank. Now the office for this place closed at 7. I stop off at my bank, then walked into the office at 6:45 with their money. In quarters, dollar coins, and a few $1 bills. A $250 bill plus late fee. Then I sat there and made the 2 employees count it out. Twice, so there weren't any mistakes. It took them until about 7:30, and there was a line behind me at that point. Both were glaring massive daggers at me since they clearly wanted to leave. I waited until they were gone and closed the bill. Then I looked at them and told them, pull this again, and I'll make sure every single payment you receive is in pennies 10 minutes before closing on the weekend. They never sent a bill late to our place again, never assigned another late fee either. Our bills came right on time, early even. And our last story. Cheat me out of a sales commission? Have fun in jail for falsifying government documents. About 10 years ago, I took a job with a newer government contracting company. I was a systems engineer at the time, just getting into cybersecurity, or information assurance as it was then called. I met with several of the C-level executives as well as 2 VPs. All assured me that they wanted to bring me on board and had a billet for my TS-SCI. For those that don't know, having a CSI is a meal ticket, but you have to have an actual billet on a contract to retain it. It's not like a TS where you can keep it but not use it. After I came on board, it turns out they lied about being able to use my CSI, which was strike number 1. Still, it was good pay, great work-life balance, and a chance to gain experience in cyber as opposed to being on call all the time. At one point, the VP of sales had a sales meeting with a big client. The sales engineer, who was familiar with the contract, was out on personal leave with an emergency. VP calls me and assesses that I know enough to take his place. In order to do this, I had to leave the client site I was working with and come meet him. I knew this was going to push my workload back a bit, so I jokingly asked if I'd be getting commission since I'd have to work a few after hours to finish up a few briefs. VP says, yes, we give commissions based on how experienced and how much you contribute. Unfortunately, I didn't get that in writing. The meeting goes well, really well. Every question and scenario they asked about, I was able to demonstrate how the company could handle it and showed that I had direct hands-on experience doing so already. Multi-million-dollar contract. On the way back, the VP calls back to the main office and says, the only hang-up is that they want references of other government agencies that have used us. I'll just call XYZ and call in a favor. He'll vouch for us. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Fast forward a month or 2 later, and the bid is delivered. VP informs me that we'll likely win because he knows 2 other companies that bid and somehow knows that their price is $4 to $5 million more. I'm stoked because even at the lowest level of commission, I'm looking at an enormous check, mid-5 digits. Time goes by and the contract is awarded. I'm patiently awaiting my commission, and a couple of months go by and nothing. Finally, I ask HR about it, and they know nothing about this. I talk to contracting, and they state normally that commission goes to the SE, but since he was fired between the meeting and the time the bid was accepted, it goes to the VP. With an incredulous look on my face, I ask them what they mean because I was the SE who attended the meetings. It turns out scummy VP never gave me credit for attending the meeting, downplayed my role as minimal, and once the SE who was supposed to go was let go, he figured he could keep the rather large commission himself. The company was absolutely unwilling to revisit the situation, as I wasn't really an SE, not in my primary function. I was really friggin' angry and began talking with my dad about my options. We went through everything, and when I relayed the bit about the references, his eyes lit up. He said it probably would be pretty tough to prove that I deserved the commission check, that maybe I'd win, maybe not, but he did point out that it sounded suspiciously like he was lying on a government form, and that's a big no-no. Nuclear revenge mode engaged. I made a discreet inquiry to one of my dad's friends who's a government comptroller, My dad is a retired government employee who made SES. He gave me a whistleblower avenue to disclose misconduct, and he assured me he would see it was followed up on. It turns out the VP did in fact lie on several government forms. Something like the first 4 government contracts had falsified information, claiming that the company had been used by other contractors when that was not actually the case. I didn't hear anything back for a while except that the complaint had been submitted and was being investigated seriously. I found out a few years later that the VP ended up getting caught not just for falsifying the docs, he got caught receiving benefits for doing so. In an effort to save his butt, he agreed to cooperate with the feds. It turns out the CTO and his sister, the CEO, were personally involved in active bribery and embezzlement of government contracts to the tune of $10 million or so. There's a lot of nuances to the end results, but essentially the CTO tried to protect his sister, the CEO, and got caught obstructing justice. The CEO faced 5 years in jail. The CTO was sentenced to 88 months and was facing deportation. The company was broken up and its physical assets sold off. Its employees who were working on government contracts, including me, were essentially sold to a competitor who retained them for the duration. All because they were too greedy to pay me a commission check. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.